Good morning. Hi, I'm Frank Messina, and this is the September 17, 2024 meeting of the Chatham Historical Commission. Before we start, we have some brief information. Please note, this meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly hereafter for a scheduled and an on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet device. If anyone else is recording the meeting now, please notify the chairman. Thank you very much. Pursuant to Governor Healy's March 29, 2023 signing of the Acts of 2023, extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law 30A-20, until March 31st, 2025, this meeting of the Chatham Historical Commission is being conducted in person and via remote participation. Every effort will be made to ensure the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to this meeting while in progress may doing so by calling the phone number 508-945-4410, conference ID 531330, 619 hashtag, or join the meeting online via Microsoft Teams through the link on the posted agenda. While this is a live broadcast and simulcast on Chatham TV, despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide for real-time access. We will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as possible. Okay, thank you very much. First item of business is our roll call. Bob Lear.
Here.
Steve Burlingame.
Here.
Nancy Barr.
Here.
Stephanie Hamilton.
Here.
Sandy Porter.
Here.
Janet Tennyson.
Here.
Robert Stevens.
Here.
And the chair is here. Well, we've got a full house. All members of the commission, regular members of the commission are here. So our alternate, Robert Stevens, will participate in the discussion, but will just not be a voting member. All right. We have the minutes of September 3rd, which you all received a copy, and hopefully had a chance to look them over.
I move that we accept the minutes of September 3rd, 2024.
Thank you. Second, any other comments? No. Okay, we need a motion to accept minutes as written. Bob?
I thought Stephanie had done that, but
Sorry?
I thought Stephanie did that. But I'll say it
I
again.
made a motion that we
No,
accept.
I was going to do a roll call. Did I say the wrong thing?
Yeah.
We did the roll call.
Excuse me. The roll call on the vote of the minutes.
Okay. So, oh, you're asking for my vote. I'm sorry. Yes.
I'm 82, okay, I confuse easily. All right, reset. Cut that from the tape. All right, here we go. We now have a motion and second on the accepting the minutes of September 3rd, 2024. Roll call. Bob?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Speak up, please. Janet?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Thank you very, very much. Okay, that was easy. All right, we have 3 applications for hearing under Chapter 158. And so we shouldn't have a long meeting here. First application is 24021, 17 Dusty Miller Lane. This application was continued from September 3rd, 2024. So 17 Dusty Miller Lane.
They're online.
This application you heard under 158. Property was built in 1946. No Form B. Not located in historic district. Okay, who do we have presenting this application? Do you know who's out there?
It should be Elisa, I believe her name
Say again?
I believe Elisa is online, or Edwin is presenting for 17 Dusty Miller.
Hello?
Yes, we are. How are you?
Yes, could you please introduce yourself and tell us who you are?
I'm Edwin Lopez, so I'm Elisa's spouse.
Do me a favor, could you kind of get closer to the mic? I'll turn up my hearing aid. I couldn't hear him either. So we can't
Okay,
hear
then.
you. What's his name, Edwin? Edwin? Edwin?
Yes, I can hear you too.
All right, that was much better. If you could just speak up into the microphone. Edwin, could you just introduce yourself formally? Just tell us who you are, Edwin.
It looks like they're just.
This is
having-
Elise.
Oh, there we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Elisa?
All right, I don't know what. Yes, I don't know what happened to Edwin.
Well, we're just looking for somebody to formally introduce themselves and give us a sense of what you're planning.
So my name is Elisa Urbanati. I'm the homeowner at 17 Dusty Miller Lane. And Edwin is my husband. We are planning to extend the current floor plan of the house by probably about, I think, 800 or 900 square feet.
Okay, I guess it's kind of straightforward without belaboring it. I'm sorry?
There's, excuse me, Elisa, it looks like you're logged in twice, and I think that's maybe why we're getting feedback.
Yeah, let me. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now, Lisa. Why don't you just quickly tell us what you're doing? Because it's kind of straightforward.
It is, I think it's straightforward. Basically, we're extending the square footage of the home and adding a bedroom and extending the kitchen. I think it's approximately 800 square feet that we're adding, 800 or 900, I'm not sure exactly.
That's close enough. Okay. I guess this is just go through the process here. This home was before us in 2021 and was found not historically significant and no demolition delay was imposed. So it's kind of a procedural issue that why we're here again. So why don't we just quickly see if any members of the commission have any other comments. I mean, the question here is reaffirming our decision, previous decision in 2021, that this is not historically significant, and then to make a determination of whether or not we would and not impose, whether we do or do not impose a demolition delay. Any member of the commission have any questions or comments that they wish to make? Yes.
I just think for the record that we should acknowledge that just for the record, I think we should acknowledge that we have reviewed this carefully in the past, that we have visited the property, we have seen its condition, and that it remains in the condition that we saw several years ago, and there are no factors that would at least in my mind, change my attitude towards the determination that this property is not historically significant.
I think we're kind of all in pretty much agreement on that. Yes, Sandy?
I have just one question. Is this the same owner that came before us? Are these the same owners that came before us in 2021? I just can't
Yes.
remember. Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
You know,
Right.
we have that issue relative to the length of application. I apologize, I'm trying to turn my damn cell phone off, okay.
I have one,
Yes.
excuse me, I have one more question. This is in South Chatham. Is this, when they came before us in 2021, the whole South Chatham Historical District hadn't?
No, this is not an historic district.
Oh, okay, that's, excuse me, that would be my question.
Yeah. Okay,
Frank, I have a question, comment, maybe. I agree with Mr. Burlingame that sort of nothing has changed, or maybe it has, that's my question. When I went by to have a look at it, there was clearly construction going on. And my understanding would be if they did not get a building permit because of a lack of historical or determination at that point, that they shouldn't be involved in construction. But that's Mr. Briggs' issue, I think.
There was no construction. There was a crew on site that were cleaning up the weeds and the growth on the property, but construction has not been undertaken.
Well, if you compare the pictures you submitted with what the house looks like now on the outside, something has been done more than clearing up weeds.
Yeah, I think some shingles have been removed.
well, I don't disagree with you, Bob, but by the same token, in 2020, whatever it was, you know, when we made the determination in 2021, the house was not historically significant, and we did not impose a demolition delay, so technically, it's really outside our purview.
Well, that's why I said it was Mr. Briggs' thing to deal with.
Right. Okay, I think we could move forward on this. We need a motion. Mr. O'Leary?
I move that Chatham Historical Commission reaffirm its finding that the building located at 17 Duster Miller Lane is not historically significant for the reasons previously stated, and therefore the commission does not impose a demolition delay.
Second.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other comments from the public for or against the application? Seeing none? Okay, if no other comments, we take a roll call. Bob?
Yes?
Steve?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Thank you very much. I appreciate your patience with us. Good luck.
Thank you. Can I just ask if for some unforeseen reason, which please, I hope this doesn't happen, but if we end up here 3 years later, do we have to submit this application yet again?
Yeah, I apologize for that. Well, I don't apologize. You know, it's something that we found necessary as part of the administrative process that requiring it to come back before the full commission. And I'll be very candid with you, as a taxpayer, it's one of the things that we have been thinking about relative to our administrative review process, so that something like this could be taken care of in a administrative review where you, as a citizen and an applicant, would just come back to Christina and the office within community development, and it could be resolved at that level without a full hearing. But at the present time, the bylaw reads 2 years, you have to come back to us and for a full hearing. And so hopefully you guys can get going soon.
I hope so as well, and I'm glad that you're looking at that bylaw. I understand. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. All right. Next application is 24022, 47 Crosby Lane. And we have an application for a property in which there is no Form B, not located in a historic district, and has not been before the commission. Let me just get myself in order here before we start. Okay, if you could kindly introduce yourself and tell us pretty much what you'd like to do?
Certainly. Good morning. It's Thomas Moore from Thomas Moore Design Company in Brewster. And we're looking for demolition without delay of the property at 47 Crosby Lane for Rebecca Fuller. She's in the audience here. So that we can build a new house with a detached garage. The existing house was a kind of a bungalow built in 1935, according to the town assessor's records. And it's, Ms. Fuller's owned this property for a little over a year. The previous owner has neglected this house, and it's in really rough shape, and it's time to go. So, and yeah, what you see there is the proposed new house that's going to go on the property. So, be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Well, you kind of said the right word that this commission is very concerned about, neglected. And although this particular property, you know, is questionable in my mind, relative to its historical significance, it's a shame when we have a structure in town that gets neglected, whether it's reasons for just personal not being able to handle it, or what we call demolition by benign neglect. So at this particular point, I'm going to ask other members of the commission if they have any comments that they'd like to say. Any comments? Yes, Nancy.
I just have a question out of interest because the stories of the homes are always interesting to me. Are you related to the Fullers who seem to have built the house in the 1930s? I am not. Okay. I thought, oh, it's coming back into the family. Okay. I just wondered, I mean, the research I did shows maybe it was built around 1932, which is very close to the date. In my opinion, however, the structure is not historically significant, and is also been neglected to the point that there's literally large plants growing in the interior
Yeah. There's
that are
not much we
practically
could do.
trees. So I just wanted to ask that because I was interested.
No, thank you very much, Nancy.
I agree with Nancy. It's just beyond, there's too much Japanese knotwood growing inside to, not, yeah.
Yeah,
It's sad, but I agree too.
all right. Sandy?
Yeah, it's always sad to see a piece of property be neglected, but I don't see any historical significance in it now.
Okay. Any other comments? I guess we seem to have a consensus, and we all feel the same way as we attempt to find a way to help stem that. And unfortunately, it's just something that's happening in Chatham, sometimes on purpose, and
It's
and
not
other
only,
times just-
excuse me, not only in Chatham, it's other towns on the Cape too. So.
Yeah, it's an issue. All right, so we seem to have a consensus. Any member of the public wish to speak for or against the application? Okay. Mr. Lira, we take a
Yep.
motion, please?
I move the Chatham Historical Commission find that this building located at 47 Crosby Lane is not historically significant because it does not meet any of the definitional criteria in section 158-2 A, B, or C of the bylaw. Therefore, the commission does not impose a demolition delay.
Second.
Thank you very much. No other questions or comments? Think we can take a roll call? Bob?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you very
It's a
much.
beautiful little spot in town and just hidden enough, to be a very quiet, nice area.
Thank you.
Very much. Good luck. Okay. Last but not least, 83 Old Mill Road, again. Old Mill Road, thank you very much. This is 24023. Again, this is for request for full demolition of a property. The property, again, there's no Form B, not located in the National Register District. And it was before us one more time. Was previously found not historically significant, and no demolition delay was imposed. So we kind of have a similar situation here that we had in an application before on Dusty Miller Lane. This property came very close to my heart when I seen it was built in 1942. Okay, who was representing the property?
Hello?
Yeah, just introduce yourself formally.
Yes, this is Tom Blakely. I'm the owner of 83 Old Mail Road.
Can I ask you a quick question before we
Of course.
start?
Yep,
According to the application, the property owner is the estate of Chatham Lee. Is she the owner and you're representing her?
well, what happened was during the process, there was an issue the family had with probate because of the death in the family, so it was a kind of a, you know, a challenge with the attorneys and everything, dealing with the probate court and so on and so forth, so that it was a similar situation at the time that all took place. And she had not yet passed away, and then, so it wasn't really your average conventional situation. So unfortunately, death involved this, and probate was involved, and all the procedural, everything the attorneys had to deal with everything. So the paperwork was put forward the way it needed to be put forward at the time.
Well, we have a problem.
You are the owner now, correct?
That's correct. Well, yes, the Next Wave LLC.
He's the new owner.
He owns the property now.
So why does it say Chatham Lee?
There is should be a piece of paper in there, them giving him permission.
Yeah, the attorneys, there's paperwork in there, authorization from the ownership
Yeah,
entity.
hold on one second. Hold on one second.
The reason that it's back before you is because of the change of ownership.
Okay,
So this is a different owner than last time.
this gives them authority to submit it.
So he was not the owner when he submitted it, he had authorization to submit, and then before he was here, he was going to be the owner.
Okay, all right, thank you very much, just wanted to clarify that.
You're very welcome.
No issue. So, again, this has been this before, and really nothing has changed. Just quickly, although we don't have any purview relative to the design, this is not the same design what was previously submitted to us? This is a new design, correct?
Yes.
This was a design, they asked to show that the gray exterior of the house, that was modified. I came in and I met with Sarah and Jay Briggs, and we went over the whole package, and then the plan that the architect put forward showed the exterior siding. When you first put it on, it's not necessarily gray, and there was a preference to have it show what it would really be at the end of the day, which would be the gray exterior. So I had the architect change it and sent that in. That is the plan that's before everyone.
Okay.
Frank,
All right.
Frank, excuse me, just to clarify, that when you saw this previously, it was a whole different application, applicant, everything. That person has since not wanted to do anything with the property. This is a totally new owner, application, house design.
Okay,
Frank, you know what? It was when you were having your surgery. It was when you were having your surgery,
I'm having my what?
when you had your surgery. So it was just Bob and I, and, you know,
Oh,
Bob and me. So, yeah. Mhm.
no wonder I don't remember it.
That's it. It was
Thank you
easy.
very much.
Eastward was going to
I
develop.
apologize, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, I think this is kind of straightforward unless somebody has something to add on it about the property or any decisions? Yes,
I don't think this is we can do this, but I was very bothered by the house that's going to be put up. It doesn't fit with the neighborhood.
yes, well, your opinion is valid, but unfortunately, we don't have authority to, that's up to our friends at the zoning board. And we'll leave it to them to make the decision, given it's really not an historic district or anything like that. So I think we generally have a consensus, if not a majority. Can I get a motion, Mr. Lear?
Sure. I move that the Chatham Historical Commission finds that the buildings, because there's a garage too, located at 83 Old Mill Road, is not historically significant because it does not meet any of the definitional criteria in section 158-2 A, B, or C of the bylaw. Therefore, the commission does not impose a demolition delay.
I'll second.
Second? Any other comments? Any members of the public wish to speak for or against?
I do have a question.
Okay.
What would be the reason why it doesn't conform to the neighborhood in that board member's opinion? Because I'm curious. I like to learn these things because I paid close attention to the previous hearings, and I've literally gone door to door with all of the abutters and spoken to an awful lot of them and shared the plan with them in an effort to design a house that would fit into the neighborhood and be something that the people that actually live there would not be offended by, something that they look at and say they think it does fit in with the neighborhood. And I have to say that I went and I distributed letters and everything yesterday. I met a lot of people, and from putting the garages in the back of the house. What's before you is a 52-foot wide house. The previous plan was about 80 feet wide with 2 garages in the front, 20 feet from the street,
Well,
where
I
this
think-
is 40 from the street. So it would help me just so I can have more education if I understood why she feels it didn't fit into the neighborhood after 4 or 5 revisions.
The size.
The size of it, it's within the zoning ordinance as far as the size and square footage and everything.
Yeah.
I'd really.
So
Yeah, well, this is an opinion relative to the size and the look of the house, but again, we just do not have jurisdiction as it relates to that, and why don't we proceed with the vote here?
Can I,
And,
wait, I'd just like to say, just because, he wants to know, I think it's not that the house itself, feels like you're creating a mansion, the house is not itself horrible or out of size, but the scale of most of the homes that currently exist in the neighborhood are 1-story, smaller, lower scale house. So when it gets on the street, it is probably going to feel larger, taller than the existing homes on the street.
That's exactly
I
it.
think that's the thing, and, so it's just, I think, a comment that these are the way the neighborhoods are going, from smaller cottages built in the 1940s to larger the homes that replace them are larger in scale, and it ends up changing the neighborhood, and I think that's where that came from.
Yes, Janet, I'd like to recognize Janet Tennyson to speak, and in the future, ladies, I would ask you to look to me to recognize before you speak. Thank you very much. Yes, Janet?
No, I understand what Stephanie's saying. However, if you come in from Stony Hill, there are 2 directions to come into this road, the Old Mill. And on the way in, there are some that have been converted and are 2-story and are quite large. But the fact is, they're back in, so you don't really see them. And on this house, you won't see it either because there's a lot of foliage, a lot of trees and greens. So it's not going to stick out like a sore thumb. And he's kept it in the print, so I'm just saying.
Okay,
It could be where, the eastward design was 3 times the size, and
all right. I thank you very much. I appreciate your comment. Hopefully that was helpful. And at where we are, I recall, we're going to proceed with a roll call with the motion from Mr. Lear and seconded. Bob?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes?
Stephanie?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Janet?
yes.
The chair votes yes. Good luck. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Good luck with zoning.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I apologize. We have, just quickly, we thought we could end in a half hour, but we're going to go a little bit longer. There's a couple of things to discuss just briefly, and I just want to let the commission know. Relative to our demolition by neglect potential action with the new planner, Kristen O'Grady, She has moved out. She's been having conversations with Sarah Korjeff from the Cape Cod Commission, which Christina was involved with Christine. And so we're moving along. I intend on meeting with her shortly just to discuss the scope of what we could or could not proceed to get past the town meeting, and also review some information that we have from Edgartown and Newport. And just that this, as before we speak, I was shared by something from the town of Sandwich. Thank you very much, Nancy. And we most hopeful I'll pass that along. So it is moving ahead. And yes, ma'am.
I would be interested in going to that meeting.
Okay.
I know it's probably hard to
No,
set
no,
up.
the only thing is, like, whenever there's three of us, we can't do that. You know, and, you know, it's that thing. And right now, Bob and I were planning to go. So it's going to be a brief meeting, but I certainly will inform you, and we'll talk. You know, that's a good question. I wonder if we could Zoom in. I guess not. I'm getting the boss to shake a head no. So we can't do that.
It's still considered a meeting, even if it's Zoom, yeah.
Even if it's a meeting. Okay, guys, sorry. Stephanie, I'm sorry. This will be another meeting. I was going to have her here, but it just figured we would just have a brief introduction. But I will tell you right now, at our next meeting, we will have a formal discussion with her, and we'll have a more detailed. Absolutely. Not trying to bypass it all. Okay, that was a new business item. Old business, updating the survey. I'm waiting for a decision from Community Development relative to the funding process, and we could move ahead with that. I had a conversation actually this morning again with Holly Herbster from PAL. She's on track to complete her efforts on the pre-application for eligibility of the Nickerson family homestead as an archaeological historic site. And that will complete it in October, and then we will make a decision. We will review that and then make a decision to submit it to Mass Historic for a decision on eligibility. We've been busy, haven't we? Last but not least, hoorah! The boathouse vote, as we all know, was successfully passed last night, and not the boathouse, the Upweller vote. So how are we involved further, other than in considering to encourage the saving of the Coast Guard boathouse, was we had prepared a draft Form B, which I had Christina share with you in your packet. And this is what Eric had prepared when we were in the process of trying to get the town to find a way to save it. We never submitted this to Mass Historic. At the time, there was some concern relative to the fact that by submitting it, it probably may mess up the process of getting it, restored, and which I didn't agree with. But B, the most important thing from our preservation consultant, Eric Dre, he felt bring it back to Chatham first, we would have a better chance of getting Mass Historic Commission to agree that this was in fact eligible, rather than asking for something that was the Chatham Boathouse, but it was sitting up in Quincy. So, Mass Historic gets kind of funny when historic sites are relocated. So anyway, we're at the point, coming back, hopefully in 2025 or 26, and then we will update this form, and then again, ask your permission to allow me to submit it to Mass Historic for another particular site. I would say that in conversations over the last 3 years or so with the town, that the changes they're making or planning to make on the exterior of the boathouse are really very limited. So we should have a really good understanding of what the boathouse was, and more importantly, hopefully, with its red tile roof, a good chance to get Mass Historic to agree it's in fact eligible for National Register designation. Any other questions on that? I can quickly jump off to this demolition delay. No movement on that, the current status of the open delays?
Those are the correct updates.
Okay. So nothing more has happened with 320 or 322 Bridge Street?
No, it has not. There has been some talk about it coming back to ZBA, but we have not seen anything.
Okay, fine. We did have a meeting on, I think it was September 4th, with the ZBA over potential changes of the zoning bylaw to include criteria for historic preservation. I'm not sure where that is. Anything more happen from zoning?
I don't know if there's been any more talk about it since that meeting.
Okay. And last but not least, conversations with the owners of 770 Main Street, the Washington Taylor House, and the former Monomoy Theater. They're waiting for the judge to make a decision and a ruling on the zoning issue. What happens here is if the judge rules favorably in the developer's way, he will proceed with the number of houses he wanted to put in that up part of the property, and then proceed with the restoration of the Monomoy Theater property and the theater itself. So I know there's some people in the community who don't believe that, but at least that's the developer's intention if he does get a favorable ruling. If not, we're going to probably lose everything. So that's a problem for us, but we, hope springs eternal. Just like with the boathouse, can't give up. Okay, guys, that's it from my perspective. I don't know, anybody, anything else they want to add, or any other items for future agenda? Yes, Nancy?
I wondered if I may be just not, quite up to speed on everything, but do we have good historical significance determination style guides for homes built in the 40s? When you see a house, a 19th century or 18th century home, there's a lot of things that help you say this is this style, Greek Revival, it has this, whatever. And I'm wondering for cottages, some of the cute cottages that are being demolished, how do we as individual commissioners look at that? And is there any guides that we should be gathering, or do we already have them? That we should be, when we consider, is this historically significant in terms of a house built in 1942 as a cottage? What should we be considering whether or not it's significant? That's just a question maybe for the future, or maybe we have these things on hand and I just need to look at them.
Well, it's a very good point. We have wrestled with that one, okay? And we wrestled with it relative to the discussion of the 75-year-old criteria, whether we even are going to go there.
Right.
And I think the last meeting we had, it was generally, I think the term we used, and we're going to table that for now.
Yeah.
The other way we have approached it is with Eric Dre, our preservation consultant. And when we did the townwide survey, we surveyed everything.
Yes.
50 years or more, okay, older, which is the Mass Historic.
And I've seen all his things about recommended this and,
Well, that's, it's been like 20-some years since we did that, and so we started it. So then we decided the last time we had Eric, and that we would take another look, but not approach it from an individual home, which you're suggesting, but approach it more from groups of homes, i.e. River Bay.
Yep.
And, I think it's worthy of a discussion. If you'd like to.
I'd be willing to pull together some
I'd love it.
resources
I'd
or
love
style
people to
books
volunteer.
or something like that, that maybe we can just
Yeah,
bring to site visits and have to look at or something.
if you could pull something together to start as a basis of a dialogue, we'll find a meeting in which we're really
Yeah.
open.
I didn't want to derail this one, I just.
No, I understand, and I do appreciate that. Thank you very much, Nancy. All right, anything else? Yes, sir.
A couple of things quickly. And I appreciate Nancy's interest in this, and I think we perhaps need to give some thought to whether these are groups of cottages or whether they're isolated small homes. And it didn't necessarily have less of a neighborhood impact perhaps. But I just out of curiosity, one day I drove down, I think it's what's called Captain Richard's Way. It's off 28, it's just west of Max Seafood. And if you drive down that street, it's like a whole different world. There are any number of, I'll call them cottages, built on stilts, not on foundations, that are very, very unique, and as a group, they're pretty historically significant. I don't,
I think that's on the list, sorry to.
okay.
It's okay.
I think that's on the list of the cottage colonies with the one that's on the other side of they're on White Pond. There's two, one that's condominiumized and one still privately owned and rented. I think those are both on Eric Dray's list of
But
things
it's,
to
I
consider.
would,
That's worthy of a
I would
discussion.
encourage you to take a look at it sometime, because it's really unique. Couldn't believe I was in Chatham looking at this. And they've been maintained this way. They haven't, most
we
of them
just-
haven't changed at all.
We just did it like with Crosby Lane. I mean, that's a street, you know, wow, where'd this come from? You know, there's a whole collection of houses.
But these have a very unique,
Yeah,
you know, no foundation, they're on stilts,
yeah.
which is great. I think, and just a couple of comments too on the, as we look at the demolition by neglect discussion, from what I've read with other towns that have done things, there's a great deal of flexibility in it. You know, there's a lot of mays as opposed to must, might as opposed to have to, kind of a situation, which I think we have to have in such a document, because there are so many different types of demolition by delay, whether it's
Yes.
been a year, whether it's been 10 years, whether it's.
We have a long way to go on this.
Yeah.
We're just starting to walk.
Right.
And interesting enough, the fact that, you know, even what Nancy just pointed out, that our friends in Sandwich, which is a very active historical commission, they're pursuing it also, you know, and so we, you know, here we go. All right, guys. Okay, very good. And Nancy, I do appreciate you putting something together, and we'll put it on the agenda. Okay, unless there's anything else, we'll do a roll call for Mr. Lear.
I move we adjourn, and I vote aye.
What are we voting for? Sure, okay. got it. All right, second, please.
Second.
Thank you very much. Okay, Bob,
Oh,
Steve,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.